Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio, and I'm currently huddled in the... Well, I'm kind of like backstage in a corridor in a cinema, where I was invited by the Pokémon Company to enjoy Pokémon Day 2023. More on that tomorrow. But I've got just about the most exciting Pokémon TCG news we've had in a while. It's Pokémon Trading Card Game Classic. And when we saw about this in the Pokémon Presents, we got very little information, but we got a bunch of teases from the video. We've got a fact sheet in English with no pictures. We've got a Japanese website with a whole bunch of new cards. Yeah, that's a little bit exciting. So frankly, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to try and mash that all together so I can tell you everything, at least everything we know at the moment, about Pokémon Card Game Classic. And if you do hear any of the Pokémon Presents in the background, it is actually playing in the cinema still on a loop right behind me. Hopefully you won't hear it too much, though. So what is this? Well, basically what we've got. Well, let's talk about the overview from the fact sheet. Created as a collaboration between the Pokémon Company, Creatures, and design firm Nendo, Pokémon Trading Card Game Classic is a premium Pokémon TCG set that is designed as a staple playset for any Pokémon TCG fan. Pokémon Trading Card Game Classic contains everything fans need to play the Pokémon TCG, including pre-constructed decks and gameplay accessories, all of which have been uniquely and thoughtfully designed to be both beautiful and functional, delivering a polished and elevated battling experience. And look, I know that's a lot of words, but goodness me, they've gone for it. Over on the Japanese site, we've had a very good look, and they've got things like 3D burn and poison counters. Moderately exciting. A cool little bowl where you literally roll the dice and it actually comes out nicely, which is pretty gosh darned exciting. And we seem to have new style, we don't seem to, we have a new style of damage counters. And the way they actually work is they stack on top of each other with numbers on, and it's just a very neat way to do it. This is pretty gosh darned awesome. Now, it very much seems from everything we can see at the moment that what we've essentially got here are 3 60-card decks, and it seems like all the cards are hollow. So, 3 pre-constructed decks, iconic cards and history of the Pokemon TCG, including base set Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, headline 3 specially constructed 60-card decks featuring grass, fire, and water energy types. Alongside classic cards, brand new cards such as Ho-Oh EX, Lugia EX, and Suicune EX, don't worry, we've seen them, I've translated them, we are good, are included. Except for basic energy cards, cards included in this set cannot be used for tournament play. However, 3 static decks are perfect for challenging friends and family to a Pokemon TCG battle anytime. From what I could see from the video, I didn't see any non-hollow Pokemon cards. It seems to be that all the Pokemon cards were hollow, although the energy cards very much were not. That is pretty gosh darned important. We've also got the all-inclusive toolbox. The toolbox contains enough gameplay accessories for 2 players to battle, including stackable damage counters, 3-dimensional poison and burn markers, and metal orbs that take the place of Pokemon coins. They're the ones that you roll into the little bowl, which is amazing. Players will be able to roll metal orbs down a small chute. If the orb lands in a white bordered hole, it's treated as heads. If it lands in a black bordered hole, it's treated as tails, removing the need for dice and coins, and may I say, much, much cooler. Now, it is also, basically what we've got here is the toolbox itself seems to unfold into a playmat, which is pretty gosh darn ridiculous. And what you've got here is basically this premium product that's got everything you need, and it's got 3 decks. Now, we do have a fact sheet which tells us some of the English news, like I've told you. We've not been given a price in English as far as I can see. We've not been told how it is going to be launched, as far as I can see in English. Now, in Japan, they have actually announced it. It is going to be available by a lottery system, both on the Pokemon Center Online and through, I believe it's Nendo's website. They are one of the design company kind of working with this, which is pretty nice. Nendo House. And that actually starts tomorrow. And the price in Japan is 35,000 yen, which translates to around about 215 British pounds, which is obviously quite a lot, or about $260 US. A little bit of rounding, but that gives you a rough, and I do mean rough, idea of what it's going to cost. There is no guarantee it's going to be the same over here. But you get yourself 3 deck boxes, you get yourself the box, which falls into a playmat, you get yourself your free 60-card decks, and we've seen, the Japanese site is actually giving us quite a lot here, far more than we've seen in English, and we've got things like this new version of Computer Search, which is clearly all holo. This Pikachu I showed you a moment ago, which is clearly all holo. It's kind of amazing. Professor Oak's... Not just Professor Oak. I mean, actually it's called Professor Oak, isn't it? But yeah, it's that one. It's amazing. Look how cool it looks. And of course, we have reprints of your first partner Pokemon from Gen 1, the ones that came around in the base set. We've got a new print of Charizard, of Blastoise, and of Venusaur. And they look exactly like they did back in the day. They are the same cards. We're not going to spend a huge amount of time talking about them, because that is really not... It's not the exciting bit about today. And I'm not saying it's not exciting that these cards are coming. It is absolutely exciting that these cards are coming. What I mean is we've got new EXs that we need to be having a chat about. You see, all the cards we were shown in the video were old school cards. And one of the notes I wrote down while watching the video was, oh, does that mean we're going to be getting new old cards? And the answer is yes. Although they don't look that old. They actually look like new style EXs. The Venusaur deck is coming with Lugia EX, the Charizard deck is coming with Ho-Oh EX, and the Blastoise deck is coming with Suicune EX. Oh, I should mention, all of them also have new tools, which are very cool. All the new tools do the same thing. They add 100 damage to the relevant Pokemon. Look at the free tools. You can see which one's for Charizard, which one's for Blastoise, and which one is for Venusaur, even if you don't read Japanese. And when you attach it to the relevant Pokemon, you deal 100 more damage. That's what the tools do. So yes, they are the same old cards we've seen before, that's rather lovely, but now they've got these new tools to beef them up a bit, which is pretty gosh darned cool. But I think I promised you some new EXs now, didn't I, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, I did. Now, gigantic caveat here. Like I say, I just watched the Pokemon Presents, found a hallway where nobody, or corridor where nobody was doing anything, and sat down and started recording this video. So I'm doing these translations on my own with my imperfect Japanese on the fly. I think I'm right. I do believe they're good. Just please bear in mind, this is not the ideal circumstances. I will check with the lovely Anton Boulet when I get a moment. So Lugia EX, then we've got 230 HP, which is decent for a basic EX. We've got 2 colourless energy, 30 damage, and you get to attach a basic energy, and it is definitely basic energy, from your deck to this Pokemon. So essentially it's one of those ones where you're just building itself up. Not a huge fan of these attacks. I don't like it that you're not hitting for weakness, and I don't like the fact that you essentially are adding energy to yourself, and then you're just kind of sitting there waiting to take a hit. That is not an ideal situation. If you get to 4 energy total in there, you're rocking 200 damage, which is nice, and then you do 30 to yourself. But 200 damage, as we've talked about before, that's not a key number. 220 is a key number, because then you whack a choice bout on, you get a KO on Pokemon V, that's lovely. But this isn't getting Pokemon EXs, not a lot of the basics, and it's not getting all the Pokemon V, it's fine, but it seems very much like a kind of generic EX. It's okay, it's not particularly good. Now, moving on from Lugia, over in the Blastoise deck, like I told you, we've got a new Suicune EX, and we've got 220 HP, which again is pretty high for a basic EX. We've got ourselves an ability, which I believe gives you free retreat if you've got water energy attached. It's fine. It's alright. I mean, what they could have done was give it free retreat and an actual ability, but it's okay. It's not particularly good, it's not particularly stunning. It's fine, alright? It's fine. We've then got 3 colourless energy, but you don't really want colourless, you want water, and then you deal 60 damage. But you deal 30 more damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. So you can use it for free colourless energy, and that will absolutely work, but then of course you've got the issue of you're only actually doing 60 damage, whereas free water energy would put you up to 150, and then you can keep building from there. Do remember, of course, that base set Blastoise has the ability that lets you attach as much water energy from your hand during your turn as you like. which is good. And then, of course, you can see how these work together quite nicely. You attach the extra energy with Blastoise onto the Suicune, and then you go and smash the Suicune because you've got a whole bunch of water energy on. Oh, look. Look how that worked out very nicely. Now, at this stage, we can flick back to Lugia and Venusaur if you want to. The problem here is I'm not seeing that same, what's the word I'm looking for here? Compatibility? Is that what I'm looking for? Like, Suicune and Blastoise clearly work together. They are bros. Venusaur lets you as often as you like take a grass energy attached to one of your Pokemon and attach it to a different one. So you can use Lugia's first attack to attach to Lugia and then move it somewhere else. Or you can move the energy from somewhere else onto Lugia to attack, but you don't have that same synergy there, and I don't think it's rude saying so. Now, over in the Charizard deck, we've got ourselves Ho-Oh, we got 220 HP, and we've got an attack that lets you attach 2 basic energy. It does have to be basic, it doesn't have to be fire, from your discard pile to your Pokemon. So you can attach it to Ho-Oh and then start smashing with a big attack, which we'll talk about in a moment. Or you can attach to Charizard, who of course does a huge amount of damage, but then of course bear in mind that you've got that tool that lets Charizard do a whole bunch more damage, and oh look, ladies and gentlemen, look how that worked out. I know. So again, you've got a decent amount of synergy here. It's not stunning. Certainly Blastoise and Suicune are the kings of this set when we're talking about synergy, but this is still pretty gosh darn cool, and I like it very much indeed. As for the attack here, we got free energy, 180, and it can't attack next turn. It is pretty much a definition of underwhelming, honestly. Can't attack next turn, doesn't hit key numbers. It's actually 4 energy, I lied to you, it's 4 energy, not free. I wasn't impressed at 3 energy, I'm definitely not impressed at 4 energy. Let's just move on, shall we? There is a lot to get excited about here, and look, like I've told you, this is 35,000 yen over in Japan. This is a $260 product. This is being sold by a lottery system. This is not the kind of product which is designed for your ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill Pokemon fan. This is for nerds. Like me, I include myself very much in that. But between the sleeves, and I think you can see the sleeves very nicely in this image, you'll notice there are 2 different sets of sleeves, or 2 different designs at least. And with all of the extra stuff and all of those extra cards and just the hollow versions of the cards, it is looking absolutely stunning. I still find it weird that we've got such a better look at the Japanese product than we have the English product, and I'm sure that in the next 5 minutes they're probably going to do a bunch of reveals, but you have my word, ladies and gentlemen, that if they reveal extra stuff between me uploading this video and the end of time, you know I'm bringing you an update about that, because that's the kind of thing I do. So that's what you need to know, and given that people keep walking through the corridor, and I've already been told once I am clearly blocking a fire exit, I'm going to finish up this video and tell you this is cool, this is awesome. Remember, the cards are not legal for tournament play, so I know I've shown you 3 new EXs, I'm sorry, they're not legal for tournament play, but tell me this is not one of the coolest things you've ever seen, and I, for one, am going to call you a little bit of a liar. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think about this in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all that good stuff. It's fun. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio. Oh, and side note, I just checked Antoine's Twitter. Turns out, totally nailed all the translations. Go me! Happy Pokemon Day, everyone.